Hello friends, my name is Kim Dent. I live in Maryland Heights, Missouri in the United States, and I'm here today to demonstrate for all of you a simple and elegant card using the Perched in a Tree stamp set, the Aspen tree dies, one die from the Stylish Shape dies. I'm using our beautiful Snowflake Vellum, some Festive Pearls, and I'm also going to do a little bit of heat embossing for you. If you give me just a second, I'm going to sync my laptop and then we'll get started. Are you all excited, as I hope you are, about the SU Global Share Fair? I know the demonstrators have been working on some wonderful projects, and I'm as excited as you are to see them. We have some amazing, talented demonstrators, so it's very exciting. There we go. All right, I'm going to flip my camera around, so just give me just a second, and I'll show you the card that I'm going to make for you. So here's the card. I hope you like it. As you can see, I've used the Aspen tree dyed, the main one out of the set. There's actually some leaf dies, as well as a branch and then a cluster of leaves. This die set coordinates with the Perched in a Tree stamp set, and it is in the July through December mini catalog. The stamp that I'm using just one of them, is Wishing You Abundant Joy and Peace, which I think is just beautiful. I also love Your Kindness Warms My Heart. And then No Matter the Season, I'm Here for You. Let Heaven and Nature Sing, which goes so perfectly with a Christmas card. The Little Chubby Bird. This is, I think, a background for the leaves. And then this is some itty bitty dots, and then the branch. So this is a great stamp set, and like I said before, it is in the July through December mini catalog, and it is a bundle, so if you love the dies, you'll want to order the dies and the stamp set at the same time. And then the circle die that I used is from the Stylish Shape dies. This is just one of them, and you'll find that set of dies in our annual catalog. The other product that I'm using that I absolutely love is our Snowflake Vellum. And this is found in the July through December mini catalog. You get 6 sheets. There's this one, isn't it pretty? These large snowflakes, which are iridescent. Then you'll see the same pattern with the flocking. And then the tiny snowflakes. And then this piece that I'm using today. And I've used it so much, this is the only piece that I have left besides the piece that I'm using on my card. I also want you to know I've cut these down to 6 by 6. You'll actually, when they arrive, they're 12 by 12 sheets. So there they are. I love this. I've said this in my little commercial, out of all the products in the mini catalog, I've used this the most. All right, I'm going to set the card to the side. I just put this on top of my Orchid Oasis cardstock because it kind of blended in with my grid paper. So I wanted you all to get a good look at it before I set it to the side. So isn't it pretty? All right, I'm going to set that right here. The card base is thick basic white, and it is 4 1/4 by 11, or in centimeters it is 10.5 by 29.7, and then I folded it in half. And you always want to give your card bases a nice, clean, crisp fold by using your bone folder. And then the next 3 pieces that I've used are all the same size. They are basic white. There's that Snowflake Vellum. And then this piece is Smoky Slate. And the reason I chose to add the piece of Smoky Slate was because I thought that the vellum showed up a little better with the Smoky Slate behind it instead of it being on top of the card base. So that's the reason for the Smoky Slate. And then these three pieces are 4 by 5 1/4, or in centimeters, 10 by 14.4. And then the last piece that I use, which is, I used it for the circle die. This is 2.5 by 2.5 inches, or in centimeters, 6.35 by 6.35. I did some of the work for us just to make the presentation go a little bit faster. So I've cut out the snowy forest scene with the Aspen tree die. And I want to let you all know, isn't that pretty? Look at the detail on it. It is this with the die is amazing. It does the cutting as well as you can see the detail in here. I only had to run the die through with my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine one time. And it does that for you. And I had to use my die brush, you know, of course, to get out the pieces in between. But isn't that amazing? So pretty. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in I'm going to set this to the side for a second. I'm going to bring in the Smoky Slate. And then the Snowflake Vellum die. And I'm just using our Tombow multi-purpose glue. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue just around the edges. And the reason I'm using the Tombow glue is because instead of like our Stamp and Seal, by using the Tombow glue, it gives me when I'm layering it on top and I want it to go exactly on the top, you can see all three of those pieces were exactly the same size. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room to get it on there exactly like I want it. So I love we call it the green tip glue, but it is called the Tombow multi-purpose glue, and it is found in the annual catalog. Now, I know you can, you're probably saying, oh, I can see that through there. It will lighten up, but I wasn't too concerned because I'm layering this piece, the snowy forest scene, right on top of it. So again, a little goes a long way, so I'm going to use just a little bit in the corners. And then on top, and then I'm going to put some little bitty dots like along the backside of the trees, just so they don't pop up. But you can see this card, it really is a quick and easy card. If you make a lot of Christmas cards, this is a great one to make because there's just the white cardstock, the thick white, the Smoky Slate, and the vellum. And I always like to say, I think this, it looks like you've done so much more work than what we have, but we don't let the people we're sending them to know that. But that's beautiful already. So I'm going to set this to the side, and I'm going to bring in my piece of white cardstock that I've already cut out with the circle die. And I'm bringing in, this is a product that they brought in, or products that they brought into the July through December mini catalog, and it's called the Embossed Editions Toolkit. You get the tray, the embossing buddy, the tweezers as well as this brush. And I'll show you, this brush is great for getting the powder back into the container after you've sprinkled it on top of your image. But it also is good if you get little bitty flecks of embossing powder on your card where you don't want them to be, and it's nice to flick it off with this. So, and then I'm so thankful that they brought back our embossing buddy. So this is a complete kit, and you'll find it in the mini catalog. So the first thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take my my little embossing buddy, and I'm going to rub it on top. And this just prevents the static of the powder from going places where it shouldn't. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my Versamark pad. Now, if you're not familiar with heat embossing, the Versamark pad, what it does, it's like it is the glue that makes the powder stick to it till we heat it. So, hold on just one second. I'm going to stamp this. Oh, I have a little pink piece of something there. I'm going to stamp this right in the middle as straight as I possibly can. Give it a nice little press. Then I'm going to close up my Versamark, set my stamp to the side. Now I keep my embossing powders like in these little containers from the dollar store. So that's where you see this. This is not a Stampin' Up! Product, it's just how I keep my embossing powder. And then all I need to do is I'm going to set my image right there and sprinkle a little powder on top of it. Set this to the side. I'm going to bring in my tweezers. Oh, and there you can see there is some, oh, I think I need a little bit more. Oops. So there you can see where I've caught, you know, there's some little extra flecks on there that I don't want. So I'm going to take the little brush, get off those extra pieces. Now I'm going to bring back my tweezers, and I'm going to bring in my heat tool. Oh, except I'm going to set this to the side. Don't ever tell me how I know this. Make sure you have your embossing powder out of the way before you bring in your heat tool. It just takes a second. There you go. So as soon as that silver powder started to melt and becomes shiny, that's when I know it's ready, you know, it's done. Oop, and I can tell I'm not in the camera. There you go. So for those of you who've never embossed before, that's a good tip for you. Sometimes I have new stampers and they will keep that embossing heat tool going on the embossing powder till it completely melts into the cardstock. So as soon as it becomes shiny, then you know that it's done. All right, I'm going to bring back in my card, what we've worked on so far, and I'm going to bring in some dimensionals. I love dimensionals. Sometimes, here's another tip, with when you heat emboss, a lot of times with, especially if it's a larger area, it has a tendency to make your cardstock, you know, warp a little bit. So I always add like additional, like you've got one there in the middle, additional dimensionals to make it even out. So I'm going to put that right there. And then I'm going to bring in more dimensionals and put it on the back of the Smoky slate. So like I said before, especially if you're making a lot of Christmas cards, this is a great one to case. We call that casing. Copy and share everything. I'm going to bring in my thick basic white card base and make sure I've got it going in the right direction. And center that. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in our Festive Pearls. They're so pretty. So they are red, a light green, silver, and gold. And I'm going to use the silver because it kind of matches with the iridescent Snowflake Vellum. We're just going to use 3. This is a take your pick tool, and it's wonderful for little embellishments like this. All right. Oops. So there's the card. I hope you like it. If you like any of the products that I've talked about today during my demonstration, you'll want to follow up with the demonstrator who invited you to the group. Thank you so much. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.